Is it time to buy the dip? Here we're looking at Nvidia stock, and I think that's what everyone is wondering because everyone's trying to top tick and say how far down we're going to go. But here's what's interesting. Looking at the weekly chart, we know that we're looking for a hollow candle. Here's something else that's even more interesting. If we look a little bit closer, what do we have? Well, we have back-to-back hollow candles, and we've slammed down for a hard test to a weekly higher low and bounced. And if history is any guide, the first 15 days of July are the best 2-week trading period for the entire year. Whoa. So what could that mean? Well, it basically means to stick with what's working. We have to see this pattern play out, which means into Friday close. I also want to see a weekly higher high. Let's have a look here because the crash lasted like, three 15-minute candles or basically 45 minutes. If we look here to when the market opened up, here's the opening candle. It's right here at 9:30. Oh my God, everything's selling off, right? And it's actually 2 candles. It's not even 30 minutes. So for 30 minutes into the third quarter, people go sell Nvidia and they're like, oh my God, sell it off. What does it do? It closes the day out green. But here's what didn't do so well today. Equal weight S&P 500. Do you notice anything different here? We go up and within 30 minutes, it's down, and it's down pretty big. We're down by 0.8% today. So what do? Stick with what's working. Like what? Like chips, like tech, like the S&P 500. So that's really what I want to talk about today. If we look beyond just these, the stat of, hey, 2 best trading period, 2 best weeks of the entire year, but people are like, oh my God, it can't go higher. Well, look, Amazon gave us news today. They're going to spend $100 billion in AI and data centers. Whoa. So what does that mean? Man, a lot of companies did well today. Notably, a couple that I know off the top of my head, like MongoDB, it's up by 5%, and Snowflake, also up by about 5%. Why? Well, because they power data centers. And if they're going to spend $100 billion, which means there's going to be a huge boost on cloud computing, these guys will benefit. Looking at the heat map for the day, like I said, after 30 minutes, they're like, screw it. That rotation thing didn't work. Let's go back to Nvidia and to Megacap. Apple up, Microsoft up, Amazon up, Tesla up. Merck is interesting. We had a massive dark pool print. Just for time, I'm going to skip that for today. But basically, stick with what's working. And then Tesla starting to shine as well. I'm quite happy that Tesla's moving. I've been talking about it recently, and I think there's a fairly bright future for it. Also, part of the reason why I'm bullish is because not everyone else is. 1 in 3 people think that we have to go down by 5%. 1 in 3 people think we're going to go higher. 1 in 3 people think we're going to go sideways. What does that mean? We're not seeing greed. Everyone's like, oh my God, it's 1999 or 2000. Well, then why aren't we crashing? Why aren't we seeing extreme greed? We should be all the way up here, redlining. Well, that's not at all what's happening. Now I want to play you a clip from Tom Lee, which is from roughly a month ago, because, hey, what he's been saying has been working.
Nvidia and the AI-powered rally showing little sign of slowing today, with the chipmaker hitting an all-time high. The Nasdaq closing above 17,000 for the very first time. Nvidia is up nearly 20% since its earnings report just last week. And check out some of the other names in the chip sector hitting all-time highs today. Micron, NXP Semi, Qualcomm, and Texas Instruments. So, should investors count on Nvidia to keep driving the market higher? Joining us now is FundStrat's head of research and CNBC contributor, Tom Lee. Tom, good to see you. So, you're still bullish heading into June. You say there's too little investor confidence, too much cash on the sidelines, but it seems to be flowing in now. So, how do you invest and not get burned by volatility?
Well, it has been one of those years where, investors have been hesitant all year, and I think we have had some short pullbacks, but I think the best strategy for investors is to really stick with what's working, and what's working is AI-related names, whether it's NVIDIA or highly correlated stocks like Cadence or Supermicro.
People seem to want to really, complicate a simple story. So EPS shows profit margin still expanding. Secular AI story remains intact. Too much cash on the sidelines. Hey, that seems like a perfect recipe. And like I said, because today is the first day of the new quarter, after 15 minutes, I'm like, wow, I was on the stream this morning and I'm like, well, maybe the rotation's here. I'm like, oh my God, I'm optimistic. And it's like, nope. 30 minutes later, they're right there to sell it and sell it off hard. So, hey, I don't mind. The stock market's going up, and that is what I care about. So if now we go here to a couple more notes, what this really means is that if we know what's been working If we go to sectors, I want to look at the last 3 months because these blocks have been making up for other ones going down. So if now we look at a 1 month, this is where I want to see if there's more than just 15 or 30-minute rotation. Are we going to see a theme? Are we going to see healthcare start to catch a bid like we see here? Look how green it is relative to the last 3 months because it's a lot better. Is it great? Well, not really. A lot of sectors also suck, but I want to see that broadening out because this is the time when we would expect to see it. And then why do I have this open here? All right, well, that's not working. Well, we're not into extreme greed, like I mentioned. And then just going back to a couple of charts, what this really means is that high time frame charts, if we look at notably monthly and weekly charts, so we're going to focus on a couple monthlies. This is where RSP or equal weight S&P 500 is definitely flashing a warning. Why? Well, look, it looks like a double top. We closed last month below it with an inside bar. Now we have 3 inside bars. And as I actually look a little bit closer here, this looks even worse. So this is like Nvidia. We're either going to maintain this higher low or we're not. Hey, that's within 5 cents. This has to be the low. If we're going to get the best 2-week trading period for the entire year, man, it's go time. We've got to go up. We can't afford to hang around here much longer. 5 cent monthly higher low with a 3 times inside bar. This is going to be a double top if we blow that low out. I'm starting to get a little bit concerned here. But if you look at SMH, well, the party's not quite continuing here. We see that SMH is stalling out a little bit. So if we look broader, basically to other AI names, they're not all up today. ARM is down, AMD is down, Micron is down by a cent, TSM is down, Intel is down. So we're going to have to see whether or not there is a bid into this AI trade or if the market is just really confused and has no idea what's going on, because Jerome Powell speaks a little bit later this week. And honestly, I'm not sure what he's going to do. The last chart I want to focus on here is going to be the US 10-year note, because this is another chart that honestly gives me a bit of concern. In the video, I called it very scary. And the reason why is because if we look here really close, what this means for me is that we're seeing US exceptionalism. People want US bonds, people want the US dollar, and they want US stocks. So we're going to have to see whether or not this pattern can continue, because normally this does not happen. I believe that's why we see yield curve inversion, where the 2 and 10-year note, people are like, oh, well, in 1995, they weren't inverted. Who cares? Like, it's like saying, I'm not going to go to my destination because the sign's not correct. Well, sometimes the signs are wrong. And yes, we're still above 1, which is bad. Going all the way back to here, these were not normal cycles. We waited until 1999 to get above 1. Without making things too much more complicated, I uploaded a video this weekend on the left you can watch now, or you can subscribe on the right to come hang out with me at 9:15 tomorrow. Thanks so much.